Pine trees are the subject of this week's Two Works for You in the Garden segment. Taft talks all about them with our garden expert, Paul James.
Good morning, welcome back to In the Garden. And you know, Paul, as we're continuing through the fall season, still not feeling a whole lot like fall, and as we're really moving toward December and Christmas, I always think a lot about pines. Seems like a perfect time of year for that. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at today.
Well, I'm glad you think that way, because I was going to talk about pines today. This is a fairly unusual one in the sense that it's a mugo pine. And usually people think of those as shrubs, because 99% of all you see are shrub forms. This is an upright tree form called tannenbaum. How appropriate.
Yeah, very appropriate.
Slow grower, maybe 10 feet in 25 years by 6 feet. So it's going to stay nice and small. It's great for a smaller property. Really tough, can handle, loves the Oklahoma heat. So yeah, it's a great choice. Perfect time to plant.
And beautiful as well.
Absolutely. Now there's one similar to this that I like even more. Where is it? Oh, it's right over there. Now, Taft, this looks remarkably similar to the untrained eye, but this is the Bosnian pine.
Okay.
It's a different pine for this area that a lot of people aren't familiar with, but it does great. It'll get a little bigger than the mugo, but it's also very slow growing. Loves full sun, a lot of disease resistance, so it's another great choice. There's a couple of different, actually there's 3 or 4 different name varieties, but you can't go wrong with a Bosnian pine.
And if we did want to maybe trim this off a little bit, are they easy to trim, or do we just let them go?
You just let them go that way, but you can control the side branches. In the spring, they produce what are called candles, an elongated new growth, and you can pinch that to control the growth this way.
Okay, so you can keep it in a nice tight space.
Yeah.
All right.
Now behind you happens to be one of my favorite pines.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, Paul, something I noticed about this, not only does it seems like the branches are obviously a little bit different dropping down, but wow, the needle's much softer on these than what we've seen with some of the other pines.
Yeah, this is a white pine, and this is called Angel Falls, so it has that cascading form.
Yeah.
These are stunning. It'll just weep all the way to the ground, and there's a great big one right over there that's really spectacular. You can see what it's going to look like as it matures. One thing to point out, you'll see some browning of the needles.
Okay.
This time of year, actually starting often in late September or so, that's not at all unusual. It's just shedding. Okay, so 2, 3, 4-year-old needles it'll shed. You can go in there and clean it up if it's small enough, or just wait for a strong wind. But that's not unusual. This is a real specimen. I mean, it says, hey, look at me.
And that's exactly what you always say. You always find these type of shrubs or whatever that we really want to put in the yard that people are going to drive by and stop and ask you what these are. This is definitely a perfect example of that.
Definitely one of them. It's gorgeous.
Sure is.
But I'm not done yet.
Not finished.
No, we got more. Okay, Taft, speaking of specimens, this is a Japanese white pine. Fukuzumi is its name. And it is absolutely stunning.
Beautiful. Yeah, sure is.
Short needles. The branches grow at almost like 45-degree angles. You know, in a proper spot in a landscape, this would just, oh my goodness. I think I need it in my house, actually. Of course, it's $699, so it's not for everyone.
So you can have 3 or 4 at your house.
Exactly. So I just love this. We do have smaller ones, so you don't have to shell out $700. This is a black pine.
Okay.
Pinus banksiana, called Uncle Fogey. And it is the most twisted, contorted, strange thing you've ever seen.
All over the place. Don't
you love it?
Yeah, a lot of characteristics in that.
Yeah, a whole lot. They do well here. I've grown them for years.
The spiders love them?
The spider. No, it's another great choice among the pines. I want to wrap things up with a few more.
Okay.
Right down here.
Right here.
You're getting your exercise today.
Sure am. All right, Paul. Last one we're looking at. What are we seeing here?
Well, we got a collection really of some more Japanese white pines as well as some Eastern white pines, and these two are just they're unusual.
They really are.
If you look closely at some of these needles, you'll see kind of a silvery blue underneath with the green, and then some of the needles will curl inward, which I really love. Like that right there, the way those needles just curve inward, and you can really let you see the underside of that needle. They can take quite a bit of sun, but you really need that well-drained soil. So if you got a heavy clay soil, these aren't ideal. You can amend it if you so choose, but that's all you got to keep in mind is just good drainage.
One thing I'm thinking about the different pines that you've shown us is whether you need a large area covered, small area, you want it tall, short, doesn't matter, pines are going to be the way to go.
So many choices.
Paul, thanks a lot as always.
Thank you.
And remember, you can rewatch that segment or all of our garden segments at KJRH.com.